Adventure Island 2 is not just the action-packed sequel to one of the best-selling games on the NES, it's also one of the most exciting platforming action games on the system. The original Adventure Island sold over 1 million copies on the NES, but maybe calling it original is a bit untrue because the first Adventure Island is essentially just a reskinned copy of a hit arcade game from Sega called Wonder Boy. Hudson Soft, the publisher of Adventure Island, wanted to make a sequel, but they would not be able to just copy Wonder Boy again. They had essentially won their legal dispute against Sega and would be permitted to continue making Adventure Island titles, but this time they'd have to make an entirely new game from the ground up. Hudson Soft's name may be front and center on the title screen, but Adventure Island 2 was actually developed by a company called Now Production. Now Production is a Japanese development studio that was established back in 1986 and as of this recording is still in business today. They made several notable games on the NES, including Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu and Yo Noid, the only NES game starring a Domino's Pizza mascot. For Adventure Island 2, the developers created 8 island worlds, each with a specific theme. There are 9 to 14 levels within each world, but you don't have to complete them all. Which levels you play seems random, but it is actually controlled by which bonus egg the player chooses at the end of each level. Each world ends with an intense duel against a monstrous boss, but the most exciting new addition to the game are the dinosaurs. Adventure Island 2 introduces 4 different dinosaurs for our hero to ride. The red and blue dinosaurs are similar, but there is also one specifically for swimming, and the rare flying pteranodon which can make some of the levels a breeze. The developers even added an intuitive menu where you can turn off power-ups you've collected so you can store them for later. Even if you only have a few good dinosaurs, you can use this system to save them until you really need them. With a total of 80 levels, Adventure Island 2 was much bigger than the first game in the series, and is one of the biggest action games on the NES. As a kid, this game seemed to have infinite levels, because no matter how many times I played it, I'd always seemed to find new levels I hadn't seen before. Like many other action games on the NES, Adventure Island 2 does not have much of a story. It seems that Tina, the girlfriend of series protagonist Master Higgins, has been kidnapped, and it's up to Higgins to save her again. Strangely, in the North American instruction manual, it suggests that Tina was kidnapped by the evil witch doctor from the first Adventure Island, although he doesn't appear in the game at all. The Japanese version tells a slightly different story, which seems to be more accurate. In that version, Tina was kidnapped by a new villain, a mysterious invader named BEEZLEBUFF. But it really doesn't matter how Tina got kidnapped. Either way, it'll be up to us to rescue her. The game was released in both North America and Japan in early 1991, and it would later release in Europe by the summer of '92. While it didn't sell nearly as many copies as the first game in the series, players were excited to ride dinosaurs and battle the island bosses. Critics praised the improved graphics and the addition of the map screen. The game was popular enough to spawn 2 8-bit sequels, Adventure Island 3 in 1992 and Adventure Island 4 in 1994, although sadly, that one would not be officially released in North America. In modern times, players and critics still appreciate Adventure Island 2 for being an ambitious sequel that took the series in a great direction. When IGN released their list of the top 100 NES games of all time, they ranked Adventure Island 2 at number 29. Modern players that attempt this game will still have to deal with all of the challenges the NES is notorious for. It doesn't take much to kill Master Higgins. There are instant death pits, vicious monsters, exploding volcanoes. You can even die from not eating enough food. You only get a handful of lives, so make one too many mistakes, and it'll be game over. But what if I told you secret tricks and easy strategies to get you through all 80 levels? What if I showed you a fast route through the game that only requires you to finish 32 levels? And what if I told you the best way to defeat every boss? Even BEEZLEBUFF himself? Well, on today's episode of You Can Beat Video Games, we'll learn all of that and more. If you're new to the channel, we're doing deep dives on retro video games and giving you the professional strategies that can be used by the casual gamer. Please make sure to subscribe and check out youcanbeatvideogames.com for episode lists, news, and official You Can Beat Video Games merchandise. And please join our Patreon for access to an exclusive Discord community and a chance to vote on future episodes. Let's get started. All right. Hudson's Adventure Island 2. If you key in right, left, A, B on the title screen, you'll be taken to a world select mode where you can choose any of the game's 8 worlds. Unfortunately, you won't have any items to start with. That will make some of the later worlds quite difficult, but if you just want to try them out, this is a good way to do it. But of course we won't be using that code today, so let's go back to the beginning. And I think it's funny that they started out with Master Higgins being hit on the head with a coconut, considering that coconuts in this game are 100% lethal, and my man should be stone dead from that. Maybe that was some kind of safety coconut? Well, in any case, we're off to World 1, Fern Island. And the first level of the game is a simple forest scene. We don't have any items to work with yet, but that's okay. We'll be able to find some here. The first egg contains a stone axe, and by pressing the B button, you'll be able to throw it. If you find a second egg that would contain an axe, you'll get a skateboard. The skateboard will give you an extra hit, but you won't be able to stop moving forward unless you're up against a wall. Also, if you collect a dinosaur, like this one, you'll lose the skateboard anyways, so it was no big deal that we got hit there. The skateboard is one of the only items that you won't be able to take with you at the end of a level, but you would get a point bonus if you still had it. That brings us to our first egg room. There are 8 eggs that come out here, and if you count them as they come out, the first 3 eggs will take you to level 1-2, but the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th egg would take you to level 1-3 instead. I definitely recommend going to 1-2, so take one of the first eggs, unless you're trying to take the fastest path through the game, because there's a warp zone in level 1-3. There's a hidden egg right here on this first ledge. You just need to jump in that spot and the egg will appear. That will bring you to this spring bonus stage. If you'd like to know how to use the springs, you just want to hold down the jump button. So hold down A as you bounce across the springs. I usually hold A and B, which will give your jumps a little bit more energy, but you may have to occasionally turn back to the left a little bit to make sure you land on each spring. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you kind of get it, it's not too hard to collect all of the items in that bonus stage. You certainly don't need to collect all of the fruit in the bonus stage. Fruit is normally used to replenish your stamina meter, which you see directly below your score. If that stamina meter ever is completely depleted, you die, so it's important to keep it filled by eating food. There's plenty of food to eat in these early levels, but the fruits are also worth points, and if you get 20,000, you'll get an extra life. We're going to pick the third egg here so that we go to level 1-3, but if you want to take an easier route, pick one of the first 2 eggs, and that will take you on to 1-4. Press B to store all of your items on the menu. Here in World 1, we're trying to build up a large stock of items. The first egg here contains an axe, but it would have been a skateboard if we brought an axe with us, and we can't add skateboards to our menu. The second egg contains Honeybee, which is a fairy that grants us temporary invincibility. Hold down B to run extra fast while you have Honeybee's protection. Between these 2 rocks we can find a hidden egg, and this is the warp zone. If you say yes, this pink pterodactyl will fly you directly to World 2 as you hang precariously from its clutches. I can't actually recommend that you use this warp zone because World 1 is pretty easy, and in some of the later levels we'll be able to get some very good dinosaurs that we'll be able to use later, but if you're in a hurry and you just want to get out of here, that is something you could decide to use. Any of these eggs is going to take us on to level 1-4, but if we had skipped level 1-2 earlier, the first 4 eggs would take us there instead. So keep that in mind. Which levels are completed will affect how the eggs work. Level 1-4 may be the most important level in the entire game, because this is where you'll find the Hudson Bee. You'll find a blue dino at the top of the first stairs, and its tail whip attack can easily clear these skull enemies. So make your way to the right. You'll see a green frog over here. Green frogs don't actually move, so they're not much of a threat. But this is what you're looking for. Right at the bottom of this step, you'll find a hidden egg with a key inside, and that will take you to the green dragon room. He will give you the Hudson Bee. This item allows you to keep everything in your inventory if you run out of lives and continue. You just have to make sure you hold left while you continue. Don't forget to do that. Make sure to take the very first egg here so that you go on to level 1-5. If you skipped level 1-2 earlier, some of those eggs could send you back there, and some of the other eggs could send you to level 1-7, and that's not where we want to go right now. There's no axe to find in level 1-5, so make sure to bring one with you. This first egg is a dirty trick. You probably would think it's an axe, but no. It's the eggplant, which drains your stamina and will make it so that you really need to find food as you move along here. Make sure to jump over any rocks you see. Touching those rocks won't kill you directly, but you'll stumble and lose a lot of stamina, so if you had fallen for that eggplant trap earlier, this could be particularly devastating. The moral of the story is, make sure to avoid that eggplant. Also, look for a bird that drops an egg near the goal. This will give you a free blue dinosaur. Nice! If you're following the easy path here, you can grab the first egg, and that will take you directly to level 1-9 where you'll meet the boss. We're going to grab the third egg instead though, so that we can go here, level 1-6. If you look at the map data that I put on the left side of the screen, it says there's no axe here in level 1-6, and that's not entirely true, because there is one in the bonus stage that we'll reveal, but it's very difficult to get that axe and still be able to collect the better items that you'll find in the bonus stage, so I do recommend that you bring one with you. You'll also find a spade card here, and the red dinosaur can actually go right into the poison swamp without taking any damage. Be careful when you're down there though. If you get hit by an enemy, you'll lose your dinosaur, and then you'll probably be killed by the swamp. At the base of this tree, we'll find a hidden egg that will take us up here to Dino Heaven. This is similar to the cloud bonus stage that we found before, but you'll see there are some dino cards for us to collect here. And if you can get farther and farther to the right, you'll find better and better dinosaurs, and the best one you can find here is the spade card. Now, we were already riding a red dinosaur, but if we collect that spade card, it will be added to our inventory, so it is good to go up there and collect extra items. From here, the first two eggs would take us on to level 1-9, so we want to collect the third or the fourth egg. Either of those will take us to 1-7. The fifth, sixth, and seventh egg would take you to 1-8, so there's actually a lot of ways you can go from 1-6. Unequip any red or blue dinosaurs you have, because this is a swimming level, and if either of those dinosaurs touches the water, it will be instantly killed. The only dinosaur that can swim is this purple Elasmosaurus, which looks to be a distant relative of Barney. This friendly dinosaur is the only one in the game that doesn't have its own attack, so you'll need to have an axe to be able to attack enemies while riding it. If you hold down the B button while riding this dinosaur, you'll be able to swim very fast, but don't get reckless and run into something. We're going to grab the first egg here, but any of them would take us to level 1-8. If we hadn't finished level 1-6, some of the eggs would take us there. This one's a little bit different from the levels we've played before. This is a vertical cave climb. You'll want to bring an axe with you here, because you will never find an egg containing an axe in one of these vertically oriented levels. That's just because the developers wanted to ensure that you never get a skateboard in one of these levels, because how would that work? The real key to any of these cave climb levels is to get rid of any of the enemies you see as you're climbing up, so if you accidentally fall down below, there's nothing that can kill you. That will keep you safe if you make a mistake. Also, you'll want to hold down the B button to run so that you can make bigger jumps. There are a lot of high jumps that you'll need to make to get to the top. The eggs in level 1-8 really want to send you to level 1-6, and they definitely will if that level is open, but because level 1-9 is the only one left, the game has no choice but to send us here. Make sure to bring an axe. You won't find one in here. This platform with the wheels on it will push you backwards to the left, so whenever you see one of those, just quickly hop off of it as soon as you hop on. We're going to try to get rid of any enemies in our way here, and we're going to do that by attacking them from afar with our axes. And we just got another 20,000 points, so we got an additional extra life. If you ever have 9 extra lives in reserve, you won't be able to get any more extra lives. That's the maximum. Make sure you don't fall into the poison swamp. It will definitely kill you, unless you're riding a red dinosaur, so if you're struggling with this level, you may want to consider bringing a red dino. Any other dinosaur that falls down in there will be killed. including the one that's made for swimming. Over here we'll find an egg that contains a club card, and that gives us the Pteranodon. Once you have this dino, fly directly to the top of the screen, then hold down the A button and fly to the right. You'll make it all the way to the goal with no interference. This boss is called Fern, and it's some kind of pulsating mushroom that's attached to the right wall. You want to get on the right edge of this lower platform and just keep tossing axes at it. Your dino will help out as well by dropping rocks on the boss. The green orbs this boss releases can kill you if they can get close enough, but if you're just pelting it with axes and rocks, you should have no problem. World 2 is Lake Island, and we're going to add the axe we had to our inventory because the first level of every world except for World 8 has an egg containing an axe towards the beginning. So we're just going to make our way to the right. These snail enemies do move, but barely. They move a lot more than this green frog that we're going to be coming up on, although if you hit the green frog with your axe, it will turn into a pink frog, and that frog can move, so you want to hit it a second time. Also, if you don't have an axe when you encounter a pink frog, if you run directly at it, it should hop over you. Make sure to kill this bird when it's over land and not over that gap, because it drops a spade card, which will give us a free red dinosaur. The red and blue dinosaurs are mostly the same, but the red one is generally a little bit better because it's lava proof. We don't really have to worry about which egg we pick here. The first 3 levels of World 2 only connect to one other level, so regardless of which egg we choose, we'll be on to level 2-2. If you're interested in finding a 1-up, bring a red or blue dinosaur with you to this level. Whenever you see a red flower in the background, that means a flower devil is going to attack from the left, so turn and shoot it with your dinosaur or hit it with an axe. And that rock contains the 1-up that I mentioned earlier, so you can use your dinosaur to clear it and you'll be able to find the prize inside. At the base of this tree, we'll find a key that takes us up to the bonus stage. Remember to hold down the jump button to activate these springs. In fact, you just want to hold it down and don't let it go. Just hold it down the entire time and move yourself from left to right across them. If you don't quite make a jump and you can get back to a spring that you were on previously, you'll need to jump on it once to collapse the spring and then jump on it a second time to get vaulted upwards. Near the end of the level, be on the lookout for a bird that drops an egg containing a swimming dinosaur. Don't worry about the red dinosaur we were riding before. It will get added to our inventory automatically. Once we tally up our points, we'll be on to another egg room, and just like the last one, we can pick whichever egg we want here because they're all going to take us to level 2-3. Level 2-3 is our first swimming level of the world, but this is Lake Island after all, so it certainly won't be the last. We'll bring an axe with us. You'll be able to find one in here, but it will just get added to our inventory, so it's not like we wasted it. Make your way to the right. If you stay low, the jellyfish enemies that you encounter here won't be able to get you. The seahorse enemies that you'll encounter here just swim straight up and down, so you can get fairly close and hit them with 2 axes to remove them. You can get rid of this one by throwing an axe through the wall. Make sure not to touch the spiky ceiling or any of those black mines that are in the water. Any of that is lethal. The enemy with the shell is called an ammonite, and if you have an axe, you'll want to make sure to kill that guy because it will turn around and start to chase you. Once again, Any of the 8 eggs that you see here will take you on to level 2-4, but in the next level, which egg you pick will certainly matter. Level 2-4 looks a lot like level 2-2. There are just fewer items to find here, so I recommend bringing a red or blue dinosaur so that we'll be able to clear a rock containing another 1-up, and you may also want to bring an axe just as backup in case you lose your dinosaur. There are a bunch of enemies here, so you just want to take it slow, move to the right at a slow pace, killing all the enemies that you see before moving on. It's tempting to just try to run through here, but if your dino gets hit, you won't be able to clear out this rock containing a 1-up. Be careful of the snakes that spit fire at you. You can get rid of them, but you may need to jump over the fireballs. Make sure to also clear out that rock and the spider before using the spring to collect the meat. You can get rid of that pink frog from far away, that will keep you safe, and then just head on into the goal. The first egg that you find here will take you to level 2-5, and that's good if you're trying to clear all of the levels, but the second egg would take you to 2-6, and if you're taking the easy path, you want to grab the third egg, which would take you on to 2-7. Level 2-5 is another vertical climb, and this one is pretty easy if you bring an axe. Almost all of the enemies are these skull types, and they don't move, so if you hit them with your axe and just avoid them as you jump, you should have no problem getting around these guys. Remember, you want to hold down the B button so that you can get a little bit of extra pep in your step and you'll be able to jump higher. Do not touch the bottom of that moving platform. That can definitely kill you. And there is one bat in here at the very top, so be on the lookout for that. The bat is by far the most dangerous enemy in this whole entire level. We can find a swimming dinosaur near the top, which could come in handy later, and there's that bat. So just get rid of that guy and you'll be able to cruise on to the goal. We're going to grab one of the first 3 eggs here. That will take us on to level 2-6. If you take the 4th through the 7th egg, that would take you to level 2-7 instead. 2-6 is another swimming level, and I recommend bringing an axe, although you will eventually find one in here. Whenever you're swimming, if you hold down A, you'll float up to the top of the screen, and if you release it, you'll drift down to the bottom. You'll move a bit more slowly forward than you would in air than you do in the water. Make sure to keep an eye on your stamina as you swim along. If you keep missing the enemies with your axes, you could end up wasting a lot of time, and then your stamina could be in jeopardy. There's a jellyfish coming up that spawns pretty low on the screen, so watch out for him, and don't fall into that open pit in the water. If you swim too close to the bottom of the screen, you will fall off the bottom and die. So just avoid those open areas and swim near the middle when you see them. Down on the sea floor, we can clear this urchin, and then it'll be clear sailing to the goal. Whenever we get to the egg room this time, the first 3 eggs will take us to level 2-9, so we don't want any of those, and the 4th egg would take us to 2-8, so we need to get one of the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th eggs. All 4 of those will take you on to 2-7. In 2-7, we'll find an egg containing honeybee at the very beginning, so we can just run through most of this one. We'll find an egg containing some milk to restore our stamina, and then look for this hidden egg that will take you to the green dragon room. This guy that gave us the Hudson Bee earlier will give us an egg containing a club card this time. However, if you had 3 or 4 lives left, you'd get a 1-up instead, and if you had fewer lives than that, you would get a 3-up. It's also worth noting that if you die here after visiting the green dragon, when you repeat this level, you won't find that hidden egg again, unless of course you lose all your lives and have to continue. We're going to grab the third egg here to go on to level 2-8. The first two and the last two eggs in the array would take you on to level 2-9 instead. 2-8 has one of those Dino Heaven bonus stages, and it's right here at the very beginning, so don't miss this egg and a chance to collect a very good power-up. It's possible to grab the axe at the beginning without falling, but it's very difficult, so I'm just going to skip over it for now. You can only have 9 of each item in your inventory, so we're already pretty close to maxed out on a lot of things. We'll grab our spade card at the end, and we'll drop back down below. If you were able to grab a spade or a heart card from Dino Heaven, you should have no problem getting through this one. Use your dino to clear out any rocks, and you can also get rid of those shelled enemies, which normally if you hit them with your axe, they'll just go into their shell, but they wouldn't be killed. Bumping into one of those enemies while it's inside of its shell is essentially the same as bumping into a rock. You'll stumble over it and lose some stamina. Our fiery breath can clear out these octopi in a single shot, but if we were just using the axes, we'd need to hit the blue octopus twice. We're almost to the goal, but don't miss this bird that drops a swimming dinosaur. That will definitely come in handy for the final level of this world. We've cleared out all of the levels in this world now except for the last one, so any of these eggs will take us on to 2-9, and that's where we're going to meet the boss. Level 2-9 is yet another swimming level, but this one has a different look than the previous ones. There are a lot of background elements here, and they're not dangerous. You can just swim through the seaweed or the bubbles that you see at the bottom. The large bubble, on the other hand, is not safe. If you're not riding a dinosaur, that bubble will trap you, and while you're trapped in the bubble, you could get hit by an enemy, and at least you're going to lose some stamina, so you want to avoid those large round bubbles whenever you see them. Once you clear these two ammonites, you can swim all the way to the top and just hold right to go all the way to the end of the level. None of the enemies will catch you up here. So just hold down A and right, and you'll make it all the way to the goal. That's going to bring us to our second boss, Yado Karen. This boss is pretty easy, just make sure to swim right into this first bubble as you enter the room, and that will get it out of the way. Don't touch the other bubble though, because you may wake up the boss and be killed while you're trapped inside of it. You're also going to use that bubble to line up your shots. You want to swim right behind the bubble and throw your axes when the boss exposes its eyes. Just swim up a little bit to get over the boss's projectiles, and then get back down into position where you can throw some more axes. This boss is not that tough, but it's very easy to make a mistake when you're under pressure, so play it safe and make sure to get rid of that left bubble as soon as you enter the room. And that's going to bring us to World 3, Desert Island. This world may be called Desert Island, but the first level is a good old familiar forest. These white enemies are called swine, and they are pigs that walk upright on 2 legs and wear black bikini bottoms, so imagine what that would look like in real life. Yeah, total nightmare fuel. If you're good with a skateboard, you can certainly ride it the entire way to the goal. The skateboard encourages you to go fast, but for the most part you want to just take it slow. Hold left if you need to slow down, and make sure you don't hit any rocks. If you make it to the goal, you'll get 2,000 bonus points. The eggs can take you to 3 different locations here in level 3-1. If you pick the third egg, you'll go on to 3-2. If you take the second egg, you'll go to 3-3. And if you're following the easy route, you can take the first egg to go on to 3-4. If you're taking the fastest route through the game, level 3-2 contains the second warp zone. Carefully make your way from platform to platform using your axes to get rid of the bats. Some of the bats will definitely try to ambush you, so don't move forward too quickly. Between these 2 fires, you'll find a heart card which will give you the blue Camptosaurus. And this guy will be very good for clearing out the rocks that are in your way. And here is where you'll find that warp zone. The fossil record is unclear about what color dinosaurs actually were, but we now know from this game that some of them were hot pink and could speak fluent English. If you say yes to that guy, you'll go directly to World 4, bypassing the rest of this world. We said no because we're trying to complete all 80 levels, but if you're not opposed to warp zones, that one is not a bad idea. Any of the first 4 eggs there will take you on to 3-3, but eggs 5 through 8 would have taken us to 3-4 instead. There's no axe to find in 3-3, so I recommend you bring one with you, and if you run quickly enough, you'll be able to get underneath those coconuts before they can drop on your head. Just jump over the green frogs. Once you find this egg that contains a club card, all you need to do is fly all the way to the top of the screen, hold right and A, and you'll go all the way to the goal. There are no enemies up here. It's really that easy. We're going to grab the 5th egg here to go to level 3-4. Any of the eggs in the second half, so egg 5, 6, 7, or 8, will all take us to 3-4. There's no axe for us to find in 3-4, so we'll keep one equipped, and if we bring a red or a blue dinosaur, there is a rock that we can clear here that will reveal a 1-up. Now we already have too many lives, and this 1-up won't actually count for anything, but I do want to show you where it is, so we're going to collect it anyways. If you already have the maximum number of extra lives and you find another 1-up, well, that's a problem that I just don't mind having. Keep making your way to the right, and here is where you'll find that extra life, so use your dinosaur to clear that rock, and we'll continue using our dino to clear out the enemies. We can find a meat near the edge of that first ledge, and we'll hop over here where we will wait for the coconuts to drop before moving on. That flower indicates that a flower devil is going to sneak up behind us, so we'll turn to the left and clear it, and then we'll run on to the goal. Regardless of which path you're taking, you want to grab the first egg here to go on to 3-5. If you hadn't completed level 3-2 or 3-3 at this point, some of those other eggs could take you back there. There are 2 axe eggs to find here in 3-5, but you'll want to resist the temptation to collect the skateboard because there's a lot of dangerous platforming to be done here, and the skateboard will make that a bit harder. You get an extra hit while you have the skateboard equipped, but if you fall into an instant death pit, none of that matters. Use your axe to clear the lower bird here and then jump across to the right. And down here we'll find an egg that contains a diamond card. You want to break open that egg with your axe because if you bump it to the right, it could fall off the edge and you won't be able to get it. If you find a second axe egg while you already have a dino equipped, then you will get a flower instead of a skateboard. The flower is just worth points. Carefully make your way to the end. We're trying to preserve this dino. We'll do a small hop and toss our axe to clear that last snake, and then we'll make our way to the goal. If you're taking the easy path, grab the first egg and that will take you on to 3-7 where you'll meet the boss. If you're taking the longer path, grab one of the eggs in the second half of the formation, so eggs 5 through 6, and that will bring you here to another mountain level. There are no axes to be found here, so you'll want to bring one with you from the menu, and we have so many axes right now that we can't actually store anymore. Inside the first egg, you'll find Honeybee, and inside the second egg, you'll find a spade card for a red dinosaur. Wait for an opening after the snake spits a fireball to drop down and collect the meat, and use your dino's fire breath to clear the enemy. Right here you can find an egg that will take us up to a bonus area, but make sure you don't get killed by the snake when you're trying to collect it. Even if you missed that meat earlier, because of this bonus area, we should have no problem keeping our stamina high in this level. So collect as many fruit as you can. We don't really need points right now because we have the maximum amount of extra lives, but we're going to try to collect them anyways. Back down below, we don't have much farther to go until we reach the goal. We'll clear out that rock and we'll just let those frogs jump over us. We'll avoid one last snake and that's it. We've made it to the end. All of the eggs here take you to level 3-7, and all of the eggs in 3-8 also take you to 3-7, so this is the only world where you cannot complete all of the levels cleanly. The only way to clear all of the levels in one run of World 3 is to make it to the boss and then die. So we're going to carefully work our way to the end of 3-7, and then we're going to have to take a death so that we can see 3-8 and 3-9. I don't think the developers expected people were going to figure out how to manipulate the random level system so that they could potentially see all 80 levels in a single run, but it's also weird that this is the only world that doesn't work. Make sure you hit those emu enemies twice with your axe. If you only hit it once, it's going to still be alive. And watch out for the quicksand. You want to just hop across it. If you stand still in the quicksand for too long, you will die. After clearing that last emu, we're going to reach the goal for the first time, but remember, we have to take a death here, so we're just going to let the quicksand kill us, and then you'll see what happens when you die against a boss. It is a disaster if you weren't planning on it. You see, the boss ran away, so now we have to go through a different level to meet the boss again, and we have to replay this one that we already finished. If you finished all of the other levels in the same world, the boss won't be able to escape, but if you skipped any levels along the way, you can be sure that the boss will run away into one of them. If you're taking the long path, the boss will always run to level 3-9, so we will be able to predictably follow the pattern to the end. This time there's no boss, and all of the eggs will take us to 3-8, so we will have to finish an additional level before we can fight the boss again. 3-8 is a barren desert, and there are no good items in here, just a few fruits to collect. So we are going to bring an axe, and we're going to start working our way across to the right. These scorpions are pretty obnoxious. Because they're so low to the ground, you'll need to hit them from either very far away or very close, and hitting them at close range can be kinda dangerous. So you need to just figure out the arc of your axe throw and make sure you can land one on those scorpions. It's a little bit easier when the scorpion is up above you like it was there. And we're going to clear out a few owls, look out for another emu or two as we make our way to the end. And that's the end of 3-8, and that's the last desert-style level in the entire game. You'd think the developers might want to throw a desert in some other world just to mix it up, but no, they are exclusive to World 3. There's only one level left here, so all of the eggs in 3-8 will take us here to 3-9, the Sunset Forest. There's some good stuff to find in this level. For instance, there's an egg that leads you to the Green Dragon after this first fire. The Green Dragon will give us a Pteranodon, which will come in handy later, but if you have fewer lives, you might get 1-ups instead. There is an axe egg to find here in 3-9, but it's very deep into the forest, so you'll probably want to bring an axe with you from the menu. You may even want to bring a dinosaur. This one is full of enemies. There's that axe egg, which contains a skateboard since we already had an axe. And we'll just skate our way to the right where we bumped into a snake, but if you do get hit while you're riding the skateboard, if you actually contact the enemy that hit you will be killed. You can also use the skateboard to clear out a rock, but I've noticed that most of the rocks that contain 1-ups seem to be in levels that don't have skateboards. We're going to actually fight the boss this time. It's the Scorpion. To actually hit the Scorpion with your axe, you'll need to be down in the quicksand, so make sure to jump occasionally so that you don't get pulled underneath. If you stay over here on the left side, you can get a lot of hits in until the boss disappears for the second time. After that second disappearance, move underneath this middle platform and turn to the left so that you can hit the boss again in the left corner. With Scorpion defeated, we'll be out of the desert and into the frozen tundra. World 4 is Ice Island. If you need an axe, you'll be able to find one at the beginning of 4-1, and because we took that death, we actually do need an axe right now. So we'll grab one more axe to max out the number that we can hold, and we'll start making our way to the right. Get rid of this spider with your axe, then carefully crack this egg to find a blue Camptosaurus. The blue dinosaur is going to be especially good here in the ice world because he is quite sure-footed on slippery surfaces. The floor in this area may appear to be covered in snow, but it is not slippery. It's not ice, but we will encounter some ice caves later where we will be happy to have this dino's ice walking ability. Carefully hop down off of the platforms, tail whip through this snake or hit him with one of your axes, and make your way into the goal. The map for World 4 can go in two different directions, and we want to grab egg number 1 here so that we'll go to the right, which will take us to 4-2. Be careful not to grab the second egg, that will take you over to 4-8 on the left, and while you can go that way, it's not the recommended path. There are a good number of enemies here in 4-2, and there are no weapons to be found, so it is highly recommended that you bring an axe, or maybe bring a dino. Bring that blue Camptosaurus that you just found. Now that we're getting into the harder levels, if you have some extra dinos in your inventory, it might be a good time to start using them. Now, if you're down to your last dinosaur, you may want to be a bit more conservative, but if you have like 4 or more of any type of dino, you may want to consider bringing it. Even the swimming dinosaur is not the worst. It will give you an extra hit, although it doesn't provide much more than that outside of the water. All of the eggs here will take you on to level 4-3, so 4-2 is sort of a one-way path to the right. You can see we're kind of making a counterclockwise circle around the map. You want to bring an axe with you here because there's a bird you can kill that drops a spade card, and that will give us a free red dino, so that's a good deal. The blue dino is arguably better here in the ice world, but we're going to be encountering a lot of lava in the later worlds, so we will be happy to have another red dino in our inventory. This is the bird we were looking for. Jump up whenever the bird arcs down low, hit it with your axe, and you'll find that spade card. Now we can use our red dino to easily clear out the rest of the enemies, and we'll make our way to the end. Your red dinosaur is lava proof, but a little campfire like that will definitely kill him, so make sure to hop over those. At the very end here, you're going to see 3 campfires all next to each other, and between the first 2, you'll find a hidden egg that will take you up to the cloud bonus stage. As we have done many times before, we're going to hold down the jump button so that we can activate these springs, and we're just going to keep bouncing to the right, hitting each one as we go, and we will try to collect all of the fruit. At the end, we'll find a large meat, but we should have plenty of stamina after collecting all of those other items. The bonus stage is really just for getting extra points, especially here at the tail end of a level. Make sure to get a little running boost to be able to jump over those last 2 campfires, and all of the eggs here will take us to level 4-4. We'll just walk right across that pond, and over on the other side we're going to bring a red or a blue dinosaur so that we'll be able to break a rock in here, and we'll find another one of those 1-ups. Go slowly and deliberately here, taking out the enemies as you go. If you move too fast, the swine enemies will pop up from the right out of nowhere, and they appear at awkward times when you're trying to jump over campfires or rocks. If you go slow, you'll be able to circumvent all of those problems. So we'll bounce off of that spring, and then we'll just keep moving slowly to the right where we'll find the rock that contains the 1-up. Hop across this gap and roast a couple of frogs with your fire breath. And then we're going to be very careful to take out a swine before jumping over those 2 campfires. And that brings us once again to the goal. We're going to take the 3rd egg here to go on to 4-5, but if you take the first egg, that will take you directly to 4-9 where you'll meet the boss. So if you want to quickly get through this world, just take the first egg every time. There's no axe here, so you'll want to bring one with you, and at the bottom of the first hill, you'll find a hidden egg that will take us to the green dragon room. The dragon has a club card for us, but of course you know that if you don't have very many lives, he would have 1-ups for us instead. The rest of this level looks like a copy-paste of the first part. You go up a hill, you go down a hill. You go up a hill, you go down a hill. There are rabbits that you might need to hit with your axe. You may need to jump over boulders that are rolling towards you, or avoid some campfires. But there's not a whole lot to see here until you get to the penguins. Penguins are quite dangerous. They will drop snowballs on you, and those could be lethal. Whenever you see a penguin, you'll want to take it out immediately and try to find an opening between the falling snowballs so you don't get hit. There's one more penguin at the top of this small mountain, and when we drop down the other side, we'll finally find the goal. We're going to grab the 3rd egg here to go on to 4-6. If you decide that you are sick of this world, you can take one of the first 2 eggs. That will take you to 4-9 where you'll meet the boss. 4-6 is a swimming level, and we have 5 of these purple guys in our inventory, so let's give Nessie a shot. The best thing about the Elasmosaurus is that it's immune to bubbles. You can just swim right through them and they'll pop. Carefully hop over this enemy as you make your way through the open air section, And when you get back in the water, there are a lot of those black mines. You'll need to carefully swim between the ones in the middle, and then work your way up to the top here, where you can sail over those ones. Here we'll have to go through the middle again, but we'll deal with these terrafish first. And once we get over here, we can pick up an extra axe, which will be added to our inventory, although it may not actually get added because we already had the maximum number. If we grab one of the first 2 eggs here, that'll take us over to 4-9, but we're going to grab the 3rd egg, which will take us on to 4-7. 4-7 is a cave. It's not an ice cave, although there will be one of those later, and while there's not an axe to be found here, we will find a blue dinosaur about midway through. In this cave, we need to hop across a bunch of platforms that seem to be suspended over an open pit. I want to assure you that this is no more dangerous than it would be if these platforms were actually attached to the bottom of the screen, although psychologically, it does seem to be a lot more perilous. The blue dino that you find midway through can certainly help. Take it slow as you make your way across. You'll have plenty of stamina, and you don't want to get hit by a campfire or a rogue bat. Here at the goal, all of the eggs will take us on to level 4-8, and that is the next to last level in this world. 4-8 is another forest that mirrors the one on the other side of the island. There's a lot of good stuff to find here, including an axe in the first egg. Watch out for the flower devil that's going to pop up over on the left side. It's kind of hard to deal with the flower devils while you're on the skateboard, so sometimes you will get hit by them. Up here at the top of the first hill, you can find a hidden egg that will take you to Dino Heaven. And if we play our cards right, we'll be able to come out of here with a blue or a red dinosaur. So we will bounce over the blue one right over here. There's the heart card. And the spade will give us the red dino. Either of those last 2 are good. Now that we're mounted up on our dino friend, whenever we see that red flower, we can turn back to the left to kill the flower devil that appears. And we're just gonna fireball our way through the enemies as we make our way to the right. Over here is another one of those flowers. Look out for the flower devil. And down here we'll find a snail. And past that snail is a rock that contains a 1-up. So don't miss that if you have a dino, and hop over the campfires at the end to make your way to the goal. The eggs here would normally only take you to 4-7, but because 4-9 is the only level left, that's where we have to go. This level is an ice cave, and our blue Camptosaurus is especially well suited for this environment. You don't want to go too fast through here. Just slowly move to the right, and these icicles will fall in front of you, and you should be safe from them. Use your tail whips to take out the skulls, and just keep working your way across. When you get close to the icicles, they'll drop, so just wait for them to fall, clear out any enemies in your way, and then continue to the right. The smaller ice platforms that are suspended over the pits will eventually break out from under you if you stand on them for too long, but you do get a decent amount of time on these. Just take a little hop to get under the skull there, and we're going to need to do a running jump to get across to this side, but we'll need to turn back to the left whenever we land so we don't get hit by an icicle. Do the same thing when you jump up here. The last 2 jumps are tricky, but if you can survive them, you'll be taken to the boss, the octopus. At the beginning of the fight, you want to work your way to this middle platform at the top. Once you get up here, you can hit the octopus from both sides. You won't get hit by the icicles, because they'll fall to the side of you. You need to be careful when you turn around that you don't slide off the platform. It is slippery, and you will need to jump straight up occasionally to avoid some of the octopus's fireballs, but that boss is not too difficult once you get in position. The difficulty ramps up again here in World 5, Cave Island, and appropriately, 5-1 is a cave. If you don't have an axe to start out here, you'll need to be able to hop over these enemies, but you'll find one shortly into the cave. If you already had an axe, you'll find a skateboard instead, and you may not want to keep the skateboard here because it might make some of these jumps more challenging. I feel like every time I collect that last fruit, I end up hitting the rock on the other side of the gap, but as long as you have enough stamina, it's not that big of a deal. You can grab whichever egg you want here. All of them are going to take you on to 5-2. 5-2 is a forest, and there's no axe here, so bring the one with you from the previous level. There are a lot of swine in this forest, so make your way to the right slowly, removing each enemy as you go. Just like in many previous levels, the swine love to pop up just when you have to jump over rocks or campfires, but if you go slowly, you should be able to catch them at the right time. So over here you'll find a swine, and you could be surprised by these guys if you're going too fast, and you might end up bumping into a stone, which could drastically reduce the amount of stamina you have, and then you'll certainly have to hustle. At the very end, you'll find an egg that contains a diamond card just sitting out in the open, and if you take a big jump to the right, you should be able to avoid the frog and enter the goal. There are two possible paths you can take here. If you're taking the long route or are interested in the warp zone, take one of the first 4 eggs to go on to 5-3, and if you're taking the easier route, grab the 5th egg to make your way to 5-4. There's a warp zone in this cave, but if you're not interested in taking that warp zone, you need to move fast because there's no food in here, not one single fruit. The warp zone is located here at the end of this long platform, and oh, what is up with that guy's eyeballs? We're going to say no, and that was the last warp zone in the game, so we'll have to finish all of the worlds from here on out. Keep moving as quickly as you can. We only have a couple bars of health left. We made it to the goal, but barely. We're going to take egg number 5 to go on to 5-4, but if you wanted to go to 5-5, you could take one of the first 4 eggs, and if you take the very last egg from there, it would take you to 5-6. There are no weapons to be found here in 5-4, so make sure to bring an axe or a dino with you from your menu. Make your way to the right and pay attention to the red flowers that are the telltale signs of flower devils. You'll want to turn around and hit them when they pop up from the left. Make sure to strike them twice with your axe. You can wait up here for this one to run under you, and then you can find a hidden key that will take you into the clouds. Sadly, this is just the fruit bonus stage, and it's not the one that has dinosaurs in it, but we'll try to collect the fruit anyways so we can get some more points. Just keep collecting them, make your way to the right, and when you see the meat, you'll know you've reached the end. So a couple more bounces and that'll be it, and we'll be back down to Earth where we'll need to avoid the flower devils again. If you can hit the flower devils from behind after they run past you, you'll get a Famicom controller, which is worth bonus points. So if you're feeling frisky, you might want to try that. It's a little bit dangerous, so don't do it unless you know what you're doing. There are a ton of enemies in this last strip of land, so go slowly here and make sure to get rid of the spider and the frog before jumping over the rock, so you'll have a moment to get the flower devil. We're going to grab the second egg here to go on to 5-5, but if you were taking the easy route, you could grab the last egg, egg number 8, and that would take you directly to 5-11, which is where you fight the boss. 5-5 is another vertical climb, and over on the left side we can find an egg that contains a blue Camptosaurus. So we definitely want that. Go to the platform slightly above it and run off to the left. That will bring you down to where you'll find the egg. Make sure you're collecting the fruits as you climb up. You don't want to run out of stamina if you accidentally fall down a few levels. The real danger in this cave are the bats. The skulls don't move, so if you kill them as you climb up, they won't present too many problems. But the bats do move, and they can get you if you're not paying attention. So keep your eyes open for bats, and don't climb too quickly or you might get ambushed. Keep clearing out the skulls, hop up here to the top, carefully jump over to the right, look out for that bat. That one is an assassin. You'll want to get rid of him, and then you'll be able to hop over to the goal. If you've been following the long path, any of the eggs that you choose here will take you on to 5-6. 5-6 is yet another cave, although this one is filled with water. Yeah, they really went for it on the theme in World 5. It's possible to quickly run across the top of this cave, but all of the food is down here in the water, so that's the safer way to go. This fish even contains some meat, which will fully restore your health. Stay down on the bottom, that's the best way to avoid the obstacles. Go under this thing as it moves upward, and remember that the jellyfish will only go so far to the left before it has to start moving down before it goes back to the right. So if you stay far enough away from those jellyfish, they'll never be able to get you. These ammonites might be able to turn around and chase you if you don't move fast enough to the right, or get rid of them with your axe. Once you hop up here, you'll be able to reach the goal. And now it's time to pick another egg. This time we want to grab the third egg. The first two will take you on to 5-11, where you would face the boss. 5-7 is a mountain scene, and this one is chock full of prizes. The first thing that we're looking for is a hidden key, which will take us to the green dragon room. So we'll run under this frog, and the key is going to be to the right of this rock. So find it and ride the small platform up into the sky, and we should get another club card from this guy. Although it is possible to get 1-ups, and if you have too many club cards, you may get another dinosaur card instead. Work your way over here to the right where you'll find a diamond card. You want to crack this one with your axe so that you don't accidentally bump it off to the right. Do not get the third egg here. This one contains meat, but the next egg, that one is the eggplant, and we're not interested in seeing that guy again. So we'll just skip over that egg, and this one will contain a flower because that is a second axe egg, and we're currently riding a dinosaur. Now we just have to finish out the back half of the level. These platforms are just constantly moving upward, so it's kinda hard to miss there. Just jump on one when it's at a low point, and do the same thing on the next platform that is hovering up and down. You want to get rid of both octopi here before heading across that gap, and do the same thing here. It's just the safest way. A trio of crabs guards the goal line, and they are annoyingly low to the ground, so just try to hop over them and make your way to the end. We want to grab the 4th egg here, although the 5th or 6th egg will also work. The first 3 will take you on to 511, and we're not trying to go there right now. This is where we wanted to go. It's another swimming level. It feels like we have just enough stamina for this level, so we do need to move fairly quickly. At the beginning, you can head up to the top of the screen where you can easily navigate around a few of those black spikes, but you do want to come down to grab that green melon. Take out a few seahorses and this urchin, and dip down where you can grab some grapes, and then take out another urchin through the wall. Wait for this spike to move out of the way, then quickly move through. Heading over to the right, you can see how low our stamina is despite the fact that we've been picking up all of the fruit. You do need to move fast through this one. Grab an extra axe here, which would be added to your inventory if you have fewer than 9 already, and then hurry to the end. Hold down B as you ride across to the goal. All of the eggs will take us to 5-9 here, so we'll just grab the first one. And 5-9 is a palm tree zone. There's no axe in here, and there are a lot of stones and boulders that you won't be able to clear without a dino, so we're going to bring the blue Camptosaurus with us, which will make short work of those obstacles using its tail whip. So just whip your way through the spiders, grab any fruit that you see, whip through the stones and the boulders, and work your way along to the right. We'll wait for that coconut to fall, and then we'll be able to tail whip a couple boulders. Up here at the top there's a frog, we'll just whip our way through him as well, and we'll just keep working our way across. One of these birds contains a diamond card, so you want to hit that first one, and we'll send our blue buddy back to the inventory so that we can pick up another dino. Hopefully you also have an axe, so once you switch dinos you'll still be armed. There are a lot of frogs up ahead before the goal line, so you want to make sure you can take them out. The first egg here will take us on to 5-10. There are actually 11 levels in this world. And be careful, because if you take some of the other eggs, they will take you on to 5-11 and you'll miss out on this one. 5-10 is another cave climb, and these vertical levels are where the Pteranodon really shines. You can just fly up the right side. Look out for bats, there's maybe 2 of them that you'll see as you fly up, but most of the time you can just fly uninterrupted to the top of this corridor. The milk that you find at the bottom is very helpful so that you start out with a full stamina bar. You don't have to worry about collecting any fruit. This strategy will work in a lot of these vertical levels, so if you have any Pteranodons in your inventory, keep them in mind whenever you see a level like that. There's only one level left in World 5, so any of the eggs will take us here to 5-11. And this is a water cave, so I don't recommend bringing any dinosaurs with you other than the swimming one. Once again, there's no food in the top part of the cave, so you want to come down here into the water. If you had the Elasmosaurus, you'd be able to swim through those bubbles, but they're not that hard to swim around. Keep working your way over here to the right. We'll grab those grapes and we'll just stay down here in the water and continue our journey to the end. Swim up and over that spike and then hit the ammonite on the other side. We're going to stay towards the middle here and just stay at the bottom to walk right underneath that spike while you collect the grape. And that's it. We've made it to the end of 511. It's time to face the boss, Big Bossa. Big Bossa is a bat, and he starts out on the left side, so we're going to start over here on the right. You want to jump in the air, throwing 2 axes at a time. Next he appears in the middle, and you can just crush him with axes when he's in the middle. As soon as he disappears though, you want to head over here to the left side, then go back to the right after he disappears the third time, because he'll start his pattern over again. He only has those 3 positions: left, middle, right, left, middle, right. With Big Bossa busted, we'll be on to World 6, Cloud Island. We start over here on the right side of Cloud Island, and there is not just 1 axe in this level, but 2. Of course, we can't turn our axe off right now because we have too many in the inventory, but if that was not your situation, you could certainly come in here unarmed. The dragonfly enemies will fly over your head before turning back around on the left side. If you hurry fast enough, you should be able to run right underneath them. Make sure to hit this bird. It will drop a club card, and as soon as you grab it, fly all the way to the top of the screen and then just coast over to the right. You should be able to make it all the way to the goal completely uninterrupted. Make sure you save this Pteranodon on your menu, because we're definitely going to be using him later. You can grab any of the eggs here. They all take you to the same place, 6-2. 6-2 is a swimming level, and there is an axe in here, but I recommend bringing one anyways because you won't find it until you get about halfway through. This is one of the most challenging swimming levels yet. There are a ton of those spiky black mines to navigate around, and a whole bunch of jellyfish. Just remember how the jellyfish operate. They can only go so high or so low on the screen, so remember their limited range of motion. Luckily, there's enough food in this one, so we won't have as much trouble with stamina. If you need a little bit more time to line up a shot with your axe, or to swim around a moving mine, you will have that time in here. So just carefully make your way to the right, and when you get here, you're almost to the goal. Just don't run into a fish or a jellyfish, and you'll be well on your way to 6-3. Once again, all of the eggs will take you to the same place, 6-3, so grab whichever one you want, and make your way to the next level. Make sure to bring an axe to this party. There's going to be a bird that drops a blue dino, and that's going to make this level a whole lot easier. So just chop through the frogs, and keep pushing to the right. You'll find the bird that drops the dinosaur right before the first gap. So here's what you're looking for, hit that bird, make sure to get this egg, and this blue Camptosaurus will make the rest of this level a whole lot easier. It's so much easier to deal with those low to the ground crabs when you're riding on a dino. Take out the octopi, make sure to get rid of this one before jumping onto the platform. We'll clear out another bird or two, and just keep hopping to the right. That green frog won't move, so you can easily remove it. We'll take out another 2 octopi, and then there's a few frogs waiting at the end. Tail whip your way through them and head to the goal. This is yet another level where all the eggs go to the same place, but the paths will open up in the next one, so make sure to pay attention to the eggs in 6-4. This is a very difficult platforming zone, so I recommend bringing a Pteranodon here. We're going to fly straight up so that we go above these enemies, and when you see those 2 spiders, that's when you want to start drifting down so that you can collect those 2 fruit. Then we're going to fly up and over, and just hold right. That's all you have to do. So you need to make sure to grab the 2 fruit near the beginning, and once you have them, you can easily get to the end of this level. I recommend taking one of the first 2 eggs here, which will take you on to 6-5, although you could take the third egg. That would take you to 6-6 instead. There are no weapons to be found in 6-5, so make sure to bring something from your inventory. If you have an axe or a dino, you'll be able to take out the first frog you see here to collect some life-replenishing milk. It's really nice to have a full stamina bar when you need to navigate moving platforms or when you're trying to kill these octopi that jump out of the water. Sometimes it seems like your axes just aren't landing. Watch out for these enemies that go into their shell. Eventually they'll come back out if you just stun them with an axe. And here we have two platforms that are moving in opposite directions. Try to meet them in the middle. We'll jump from a high enough spot from that platform and then leap over the rock. And then we're going to quickly hop off of those two clouds because they will drop out from under you once you land on them. Keep clearing out the enemies that bounce out of the water before jumping across to the platforms. And you want to get this frog from the clouds before jumping down below. We'll just hop over this guy, and this platform keeps coming up from the water, so catch it when it's at its lowest point, and remove the bird before jumping over the last stone. If you grab the first egg here, that'll take you over to 6-9, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump away from the boss. If you're interested in seeing more of the levels, take the fifth egg, which will bring you down here to 6-6. The flower devils are back in force here in 6-6. They're especially dangerous when you're on a slanted surface, so be ready to fight them wherever they appear. We'll just wait for these coconuts to fall so that they're out of the way, and it doesn't matter if we take our time at the beginning here because we're going to find an egg that contains some meat, and that will fill our stamina up to the max. Whenever the flower devil is coming downhill, you may just want to jump over it. And that time we got him from behind, so you see we got that Famicom controller bonus, which was worth some extra points. Here at the end of this ledge, you'll find a hidden egg that takes you up to the dino clouds. So this is a great opportunity to grab another dinosaur before moving forward. Try to get the heart or the spade card, which you'll find over here on the far right side. We can also get some fruit along the way, but the real thing that you're looking for is that spade card at the end. Once you have a red dino, we'll be able to easily take out these flower devils. It's much easier with a dinosaur. Watch out for this one at the end near the campfire, and make your way through the goal. We want the third egg here to move on to 6-7. If you grab one of the first two eggs, they'll take you to 6-8. 6-7 is a lava cave, and a particularly nasty one. A red dino is definitely recommended here. You can use your fiery breath to clear out the rocks on the way in, and if you fall into the lava, you'll be safe. Just be careful that you don't touch the fire that pops out of the lava. Your dinosaur is not immune to that. Carefully make your way across. Although you could stay down in the lava, it's probably better to stay up on the platforms just in case you get hit by an enemy. If you're down in the lava when you get hit, Higgins will end up in the flames and you'll probably just die. It's much easier to avoid that upper skull if you just drop down into the lava before making that last jump. And that brings us to another goal. We'll grab the first egg here, but all of them would take us on to 6-8. It's possible to find an axe in 6-8, but you won't find it inside of an egg, so if you already have an axe equipped, you will not find an axe at all. It'll be just floating in the air over near where you find the heart card, so if you're low on axes, you may want to just bring a dino with you, That way you'll still be eligible to find the extra axe, but you won't be completely defenseless against all of the enemies here. This is one of the only places in the game where you'll find an axe that only appears when you don't already have one. There's another climbing level where that happens near the end of the game, but it is a very uncommon phenomenon. Down here we can find a hidden egg that will take us up to see our good friend the green dragon. We have a lot of lives, so once again he'll give us a club card which will be added to our inventory. And then we'll just make our way to the right, and over here is where that axe would be, and above this spring we can find a free heart card for a blue dino. Not bad. All of the eggs here are going to take us on to 6-9, so grab whichever one that you want. And that will take us to another cave. As you may have guessed from the look of the map, this is another one of those vertical levels, so you may want to consider using a pteranodon. However, we'll be able to find a free spade card in here, so we're just going to stay with our blue dino, so we'll carefully take out the enemies, and we'll start working our way up the left side. Over on the right side, there are some smaller platforms that are closer together, which in theory seems better for climbing upwards, but there are boulders that fall down those platforms, so you'd rather not stay on them for very long. We can walk off to the left here, avoiding that skull, and this is where we'll be able to find the spade card. So pick up that spade, your extra dinosaur will be sent back to the inventory, and right here we'll be able to find a much needed milk before we continue our climb. There's not too many more platforms here, but you do want to watch out for a bat up here at the top. Get rid of that guy, clear out the skull and the rock, and make your way to the goal. There's only one more level in World 6, so any of the eggs that you choose will take you there. This is going to be another vertical level, but this one is in the clouds, so I highly recommend that you bring your pteranodon. This is going to make it so easy. Fly straight up at the beginning, and you're looking for some grapes. So just keep flying until you see those grapes. Fly over and collect them, then carefully fly over to the right where you'll find this meat. Once you find the meat, you want to just start heading straight up to the top. Look out for flying cloud enemies, but don't worry about collecting any fruit. After collecting that meat, you will have plenty of stamina to get to the top. Once you get up here, just walk along to the right and reach the goal. Now it's time for the boss. Quickly hop to the platform directly in front of the boss and start pelting it with axes. When you get near the bottom, you're going to have to jump to the platform above you. This usually happens right after the boss turns red, and if you hit it fast enough, you won't have to move very much to clear that guy. That may have looked easy, but fighting that boss is absolutely nerve-wracking. And that brings us to World 7, Volcano Island. I feel like I've played the first level of World 7 just so many times. If you die and you have to use the continue, you go back to the beginning of the current world, and World 7 has gotten me quite a few times. Take out these two octopi, but then you can just quickly run and jump through that section until you get to this platform. Over here, you will want to take out these two octopi, and definitely take out the one at the next gap, this guy here. Get rid of him before you jump to that next platform, because it'll fall out from under you, and that octopus can definitely be a problem. Over here, you want to clear this guy before hopping onto that platform and collecting the pineapple. And then we'll get rid of this annoying octopus before hopping across again. There are 3 of them here. The one at the end is less important than the front 2, but we'll get rid of him anyways. We can just hop over this guy if we want to, but make sure to take out these 2 octopi before hopping down here. And that's going to bring us to the goal. All the eggs in this level will take us to 7-2, so we can just grab the first one, or any of them for that matter. And we'll be on to the next one, which is a forest. There are no weapons here, so make sure to bring something from your inventory. At least an axe, but a dinosaur wouldn't be a terrible idea. And we're going to go underneath that dragonfly before turning around and hitting it with an axe to the left. It's worth noting that the snakes in this game will not spit fire at you if you don't have an axe. Also, if you see a snake that is not spitting fire when you do have an axe, you can probably assume that that snake is going to jump towards you. There's really only 2 kinds of snakes, the spitters and the jumpers. So this one's a jumper, and as we head over here to the right, we'll find a pink frog, followed by another one. If you do a small hop, you should be able to hit it with an axe. And then we'll find a spitter followed by a jumper, and then another spitter. So just work your way through the variety pack of snakes. We'll get rid of these last 2 dragonflies and make our way to the goal. Any of the eggs that you choose will take you to 7-3. And is this map supposed to look like North America? It seems that we just escaped from Florida, and up here, the next level is a lava cave. You could bring a red dino with you, but there's a blue one right here at the very beginning, so we'll work with that. Blue dino, definitely not lava proof, so stay up here on the platforms, watch out for the little flames that pop out of the lava, and clear any rocks or enemies that are in your way. Keep hopping from platform to platform, kill that skull, wait for this platform to drop and then jump over the little flame to get onto it. Wait until both flames pop out of that lava before hopping across, and then clear the last 2 frogs before heading into the goal. If you're trying to see all 80 levels, grab the 3rd egg here. But if you grab the first egg, you'll skip ahead to 7-5. So do that if you're trying to take the easy route. 7-4 takes place over here in what appears to be Texas, and it's a sunset forest type zone. I recommend bringing a red or a blue dinosaur with you here, because there's just a ton of enemies, but with the dino, you can crush them. The pink frogs will take 2 hops before they stop, so keep that in mind. They will hop fairly quickly again though if you're nearby. Watch out for this snake as you make this egg appear. It's going to take us up to a cloud bonus. We could probably use some stamina here, although there is a meat in this stage, so it's not really a problem. But grabbing a few fruit up here is not the worst idea. Remember, you want to hold down A as you bounce on the springs, and that will cause them to launch you up into the air. So just keep that jump button held down, and work your way to the right. If you completely botched the bonus stage, make your way to the right and hit this egg that you'll find between 3 campfires. It contains some meat which will fully restore your stamina. We'll clear out 2 birds and a rock, then we'll take out a couple spiders and a snail before smashing through a boulder and another bird, and that's going to bring us very close to the goal. This snake will spit fire, so watch out for him. There's another boulder that comes bouncing down those steps, and then we want to hold down B to do a big jump over the campfires, which will bring us to the goal. We want the first egg here to go to 7-5, but the second egg would take you to 7-6, The third egg would take you to 7-7, and the fourth egg would take you to 7-8. So there are a lot of options from that level. 7-5 is tough. So tough that I recommend using a pteranodon to just fly over it if you're having trouble. You want to collect the first 3 fruit, fly all the way to the top, and then fly straight to the right. You may see some birds along the way, but in my experience, you should be able to easily fly around them if you're just holding right and A. So just collect those fruit and fly over this nonsense if you're having trouble beating it the conventional way. You may want to bring a different dinosaur if you don't want to use your pteranodon. I brought the blue Camptosaurus. This guy is going to be good. Either Camptosaurus will be able to remove these small rock obstacles, which will make some of the platforming here a bit easier. But seriously, if you're having trouble with that one, just fly over it. If you're taking the easy path, grab one of the first 2 eggs, which will take you directly to 7-9 where you'll meet the boss. If you're taking the longer path, grab the third egg, which will bring you here to 7-6. It's another mountain zone. This one's a little bit better. There's not as many platforms to jump on, and we can find a spade card later on in the level, so at least there's a good reason to come through here. Although 7-5 is on the fast route to the boss, so there is a good reason to go to that one. There's just not good stuff in there. Keep working your way to the right. There's a few platforms we'll need to navigate here. Ride up to the pineapple, and then quickly hop across these 3. Clear the octopus underneath that platform, and then you'll come to this area. You can just let the frogs hop up above you, and you'll be able to grab a spade card on the other side of a campfire. There's only a few more jumps here, so watch out for that frog that we avoided earlier, and carefully make your way to the goal. You want to save this dinosaur because there's going to be a lot of lava to navigate later, so you'll be happy to have as many red Camptosauruses as you can find. Grab the 4th egg here to go to 7-7. The first 3 eggs will take you up to 7-9. Southern California in this game seems to be represented by a lava cave. Makes sense. So we'll take our red dinosaur through here. There's a few frogs to burn through as well as some bats, and although you could go down into the lava, we're being extra safe by staying up here on the platforms just in case we do get tagged by an enemy. On the next platform, if you hop up and down, you'll be able to find an egg, and this is going to take us to the green dragon. At this point in the game, we have so many club cards that the green dragon now has to give us a diamond. How does it know what's in our inventory? Is it psychic? In any case, keep burning your way through the skulls and watch for the fires that pop out of the lava. This one's right on top of the moving platform, so be sure you don't end up on top of it. Over here, we can roast one more bat that turns into a falling skeleton, and then we'll head into the goal. We'll grab the first egg here, but any of them will take you to 7-8. I recommend at least bringing an axe to this level because there's a bird that you'll be able to kill to get a red dinosaur. Now, we have so many dinosaurs in our inventory right now that I can't actually turn off this red dinosaur without losing it, so we'll just keep it on. It'll be very useful against the flower devils here. Whenever you see those red flowers, be ready to turn around and shoot a fireball to the left. We'll take out these birds. The lower one has the spade card. Any extra dinos that you collect will be sent to your inventory, assuming you don't already have too many of that type there. You can only hold 9 of each dinosaur. Watch out for a flower devil, and up here there's a very steep hill, so you want to jump to the bottom and get rid of the flower devil as you land. There's a 1-up in the rock at the bottom which you can reveal if you have a red or blue dinosaur, and that will take us over to the goal. Thankfully, World 7 only has 9 levels for us to complete, but 7-9 is no joke. This is a volcano level. I highly recommend bringing a red dinosaur here, but you don't want to lose it at the first volcano. Wait at the base of the volcano for it to erupt, and then you want to quickly hop 2 times to the right. Over here, we want to get rid of this snake, and if you have the red dino, you can use your position in the lava to take it out. Do not grab that egg, and be very careful of the fire that pops out of the lava there. That first egg contains an eggplant, which will give you major problems in this lengthy level. The second egg will have an axe for you. Because we already have an axe and we're riding a dinosaur, it was a flower instead, which is just worth points. This part's tricky. We need to jump over to this volcano, wait for it to erupt, hop 2 times across, and then wait for that fire before we jump over the next lava. You can walk into those lava pools if you're on a red dinosaur, so that's another benefit to using that dino here. And that brings us to the World 7 boss, Earwig. Hurry to the right side of the lower platform before the boss appears, and you'll be able to turn to the left and pelt it with axes. Your dino may be able to distract the boss's shots, so they'll go towards it instead of you, but once the boss turns red, you'll need to jump straight up in the air to avoid its projectiles. While the boss is in the upper position, just come down here so that you can walk left and right to avoid its fireballs, and then return to the right side of the lower platform where you can continue to deal damage. Make sure when the boss is right next to you that you don't just walk into it. I've certainly done that before. Wait until it completely disappears before you move off your spot. And that brings us to the final world, Dinosaur Island. I've been wondering where all these dinosaurs were coming from. I guess this is the place. Do you think that they just didn't go extinct in this part of the world, or is it some kind of Jurassic Park situation? In any case, the first level here is a snowfield, and this one can be quite tough. There's a lot of penguins here that you need to deal with, and there are no weapons to be found, so I recommend bringing an axe or a dino from your menu. This is the last world after all. We've been saving our items for this. The good news is, if you take the easy path through World 8, you only have to complete 5 levels, and this is one of the harder ones. So watch out for this penguin who's right next to a campfire. That guy is obnoxious. And there's going to be no more enemies after that last owl. And from here, we're going to take the first egg. That'll take us to 8-2, but 8-2 is extremely difficult, so I highly recommend you take the second egg instead, which would skip you ahead to 8-3. This level is a slippery ice cave and it's filled with falling icicles. When you get to this part, look for the icicles that seem to be a slightly different color. They also seem to be spaced out a little bit from the other icicles. Those are the ones that are going to fall. You can either run really fast under the icicles, or try to move towards them until they fall and then move back a little bit to avoid them. Either way, you'll eventually come across an egg that contains a blue dino, and you'll be happy to have him as you go across these tiny platforms at the end. These platforms will break out from under you if you stand on them for too long, so hop across them quickly to get to the goal. And that's it. We've completed 8-2. That's the last ice cave in the game. All of the eggs here will lead us on to 8-3, and 8-3 is a swimming level, and it's not a super difficult one. We have a lot of purple dinosaurs, so we'll bring one with us, and we'll also bring an axe, although you will find one eventually. Take the upper path at the beginning, but then dip down and stay towards the middle. We'll clear these few jellyfish and the urchin at the bottom, and then we'll hit this seahorse before moving between the moving mine and a stationary one. Over here we can grab an axe, which will be added to our inventory. That could be handy if we don't have very many at the moment, and sometimes if you have to use a continue here in World 8, you might need some axes. So don't miss that one if you need it, and keep working your way to the right. There's only a few more enemies here, and then we'll reach the goal. And if you're taking the easy path, you want to grab the third egg here. That will take you to level 5. We are doing the long path, so we'll take the fourth egg, and that will take us to 8-4. It's also possible to go to 8-6 from that one, but you probably want to stick with 4 or 5. There are no weapons to be found here in 8-4, so I highly recommend bringing a red dinosaur. There are a few challenging jumps, and if you happen to fall into the lava, your red dino will keep you safe. Make sure that you watch out for the bats. You don't want to move too fast through this one. You should have enough stamina so you don't have to run. That way if some bats come charging at you, you'll at least have time to react. There's a tough jump coming up here at the very end, but if you have the red dino, you can actually jump into the lava right here and then just burn through that rock. But if you don't have the red dino, that's how you can avoid those flames. You just need to be very careful when you jump onto the platform. We're going to grab the first egg here. If we grab the second egg, that would take us all the way to 8-12, and we would skip a lot of levels in between. 8-5 is one of the 5 levels on our easy route, and we're going to use our pteranodon to easily get through this one. You'll want to fly up over the trees, and we're going to look for a gap in the trees. When you see it, float down and then fly over to the third tall tree trunk. That's where you'll find some meat. Pick up the meat, being careful to not move too far to the right so that you make the frog get activated. And then once you have the meat, you can fly straight up to the top of the screen and just hold right and A to fly all the way to the goal. You won't miss anything in here. There's really nothing good to find. We're going to take the first egg because we're taking the longer path, but if you were taking the easy route, you should take the third egg, and that will take you all the way to 8-12. Here on the long path, we're going to do another forest level, and this time we just brought an axe because there's a key here that will take us up to the dinosaur bonus clouds. So be on the lookout for that. And we're just going to clear out any frogs that are in our way while looking out for flower devils that are signaled by the red flowers in the background. There's a lot of flower devils here, and it's especially complicated when you need to jump over campfires. Don't get caught by the campfires whenever you're trying to avoid the flower devils, and at the bottom of this small hill you'll find the hidden egg that will take you up here to Dino Heaven. Just like all the other Dino Heavens that we've been to, you'll have the opportunity to pick up one of 3 different dinosaurs, and I recommend trying to grab the spade card at the end if possible. There are multiple volcano levels in this world, so we will want every red dinosaur we can get our hands on. Clear out that frog before grabbing the meat, and then just keep working your way to the right. There's a sad-looking snail there near the end, followed by a few spiders, and then a bird. Just burn through all of those monsters, hop over the campfires, and make your way to the finish line. With this red dino, or even the blue one, the rest of this level is quite easy. We're going to grab the first egg to go on to 8-7, but there's a lot of different options here. The second egg would take you to 8-8, the third egg would take you to 8-13, and the fourth egg would take you to 8-12. This next level is a water cave, but we have so many red dinosaurs in our inventory, we can't turn it off without losing it. So you can see what happens when one of your non-swimming dinos hits the water. It dies immediately in a puff of smoke. That may be how the dinosaurs went extinct. It may have just rained one day. In the second pond, we'll be able to find some meat over on the far right side. So we'll hop across these platforms, but then we'll jump back into the water where we can sink down along the wall and safely grab that meat. We'll use our axe to stun these creatures, and then we'll hop over them. And whenever we get back into the water here, we can briefly jump out to hit the egg. Well, if we survive this bubble, that ammonite is coming. All right, we were safe. And we'll just pop out of the water, we'll hit the egg, and then we can hop up again to collect the card. Now we have a swimming dinosaur, and we don't need to worry about bubbles. We can just go right through them. And that brings us to the goal. We are now about halfway through this world. Grab one of the first 3 eggs here to move on to 8-8. If you grab the fourth egg, that would take you to 8-13. That's going to bring us to our first of 2 volcano levels in this world, so we want to bring a red dinosaur with us. These volcano levels are very difficult, so you may want to just take the easy route through World 8, which completely avoids them. The big volcanoes in the background are easy to get by. You can just wait in the middle of them or far to the left, and once they launch their rocks, you can move past. Over here, you want to clear out that flying insect, and there's another one. Those guys are relentless, so make sure to get rid of them. It's these smaller volcanoes that become problematic, especially here with the large hill to the right. So carefully hop across that volcano and, well, we were gotten by an enemy. It was bound to happen sooner or later. Now we'll have to do our best to survive this level without our dino friend. We'll quickly hop across these clouds, and once you get past this last campfire, there will just be a snake and a rock between you and the goal. Grab one of the first 3 eggs that you see to move on to the next volcano level. But if you're sick of volcanoes, grab the 4th egg, which will take you to 8-14, where the boss is. Well, we better equip another red dinosaur, but of course, this is what we brought them for. In this one, there are a lot of the smaller volcanoes, and they're on small islands surrounded by lava, which makes it even more difficult to get across. Some of the lava pools have fire that pops out of them, so you need to watch out for that as well. Remember, you want to wait on the left side of these small volcanoes, and after it erupts, you want to jump 2 times to the right. You're a little bit safer on the right side where there's only 1 rock that comes out of it, while there's 2 rocks that fall to the left. Over here, we're going to hop across another volcano, but wait before jumping across the lava on the right side. There are 2 fireballs that pop out of it, and there's a fire-breathing snake on the other side. So you want to make sure you're ready for all of that. There's a couple of these flying insects, and then the remaining volcanoes are just the background variety, which are easy to just run by. And that's it. That is the last volcano level. Grab the second egg here and make your way to 8-10. 8-10 is a cave climb, and compared to the last two levels, this one is much easier. It's World 8, so it's not going to be that easy, and it's probably one of the more difficult cave climbing levels that there are, especially because of the frogs that bounce around. Those frogs can be quite obnoxious. Wait on this step at the bottom for this frog and kill it before moving on. Even if you use a pteranodon here, you have to watch out for the bats and the frogs, and you'll also need to collect some of the food along the way. So while it will make it easier to get to the top, it's not quite as simple as some of the other cave climbs. Keep just getting rid of the enemies here as you climb up, and when you see these two campfires, you'll know you've reached the top. There are 2 bats up there, so clear them out, and if you can make it to the top of this cave without an axe, you'll find one right before the goal. The third egg here will take us on to 8-11, and you'll notice as we get deeper into World 8, many of the other eggs will start taking us to 8-14, so if you want to opt out of any of these levels, you theoretically can. 8-11 is the last mountain scene in the game, and it's also home to a unique enemy type, this giant fish. Yeah, that fish bounces around in the air and can be very awkward to get around. You can kill it, just don't be surprised by a giant fish whenever you see it. And over on this small platform, we can find a hidden egg that will take us to the last Dino Heaven. So this is our final Dino Clouds bonus scene. Bounce around on the springs and try to grab the spade card at the very end. Unless you have too many red dinosaurs and you actually need one of the other kinds. But we'll just try to grab the best one. Back down on the ground, you want to move far enough right to spawn another one of those big fish, kill it, and then jump on the platforms. There's a bunch of moving platforms there. You do not want to be dealing with that fish as you try to hop across. Over here, we need to bounce across more cloud platforms. Very fun. And some of these ones at the end will drop out from under you. So quickly hop across them and hopefully you'll be able to get onto that last platform at the end. Over here, we'll take out one more octopus, and then there's just a few birds between us and the goal line. Make sure to grab the 5th egg here if you're interested in 8-12. If you grab one of the first 4 eggs, all of those would take you on to 8-14. 8-12 is a water cave, and this is a level that we could have reached much earlier if we took the easy route through this world. This is the 4th of the 5 levels that you'll need to clear, and you'll have to go down in the water this time. There is a solid wall preventing you from taking the upper route. We're going to go under this next mine and then over the one beyond it. And here where you see these 3, you just need to worry about getting under that second one, and you should be able to quickly get through the 3rd. Go between those 2 fish. We'll use our purple dinosaur's ability to pop those bubbles, and that's going to take us almost to the end. Once you clear out that last jellyfish and hop up here to the top, you'll find the goal. By World 8 standards, 8-12 is pretty easy. We're going to grab the first egg here so that we go on to 8-13, but if you were taking the easy path, you could grab the second egg, and that would take you on to 8-14, where you'll have a chance to challenge the boss. 813 is a much more difficult water level, and this may be the most difficult water level in the entire game. If you can avoid this one, I recommend doing so. We do need to watch our stamina in here. If we make it to the halfway point, we'll find some meat, but there's not a whole lot before that. So you'll need to hustle through this tight network of mines. Watch out for all of the enemies. Hopefully you have a purple dinosaur to get through that bubble, otherwise it's very tricky to get around it. And it's quite tricky to get over those rocks without losing your purple dinosaur. So yeah, this level is not easy. Once you get to this part, you want to go through the middle here, take out that ammonite on the other side, and then remove that urchin. Then we're just going to slip underneath those spikes, we'll go straight up here, and then we're just going to power to the goal. That's it. We've finished 8-13. There's only one level left, so it doesn't matter which egg we grab here. That is the last time we're going to choose an egg. 8-14 takes place inside of a dinosaur, and if you have a swimming dinosaur available, I recommend bringing it with you, as well as an axe. At least bring an axe with you in here, but be wary of bringing one of your other dino buddies, because there is a water section here. Watch out for the drips on the ceiling and do your best to clear out any frogs because they may follow you. Don't miss that milk. It's the only food in this entire level, and if you don't grab it, you will definitely run out of stamina. After you grab the milk, you need to hustle, so hurry through this watery section. There's not much left here, but this last little bit is tough. Pay attention to the ceiling drips and try not to move so far to the right that the frogs start jumping at you. You want to clear them before they start moving. There's another frog up here, take him out, and then hop up these stairs. There's a bat that will come screaming towards you at the top, and down here, you want to take out the farther frog from across the gap, then jump across and just keep throwing axes so that you'll hit the closer one when it jumps into the rock. Alright, final boss time. Wait for the ceiling drips and then hop up to this platform where you can turn left and you'll be able to start hitting the first form of the boss as soon as it appears. Once it fully disappears, you can come over here to the far left where you can hit it again, and then move up to this top middle platform to finish it off. Now it's time for the more difficult second form. Start up on this platform and just shower the boss with axes. When it disappears, you want to head over to this position, but as soon as it disappears again, you need to abandon that position because that's where the boss will appear in its third spot. The boss's fourth position is down in the lower left, and once it disappears from there, it will repeat the pattern starting in the upper right again. Just keep up the pressure and you should be able to win. And that's it. We've done it. We've beaten Adventure Island 2. All we can do now is sit back, relax, and enjoy the cheesy ending. It seems that Tina was trapped inside of an egg this entire time. Well, I bet she's happy we got her out of there. After a short celebration, Higgins and Tina sit down on the beach to finally relax. And that's it. Roll the credits. In my opinion, Adventure Island 2 is a lot more enjoyable than the first game in the series. The new dinosaur companions are a lot of fun and really set this game apart from all the other platform jumping games on the NES. Now, this game may not be as good as Super Mario Bros. 3, but really few games are. And if you don't compare it to that lofty standard, this is an excellent NES platforming game. This game technically was released after Super Mario World came out in Japan, but for a North American audience, being able to ride on a dinosaur was a new thing. There was no Yoshi just yet. Well, I hope this video was able to help you finally beat Adventure Island 2 and rescue Tina from the clutches of the hideous BEEZLEBUFF. If it did, make sure to give it a like, and make sure to subscribe for more videos. Because there will always be more tropical paradises in peril, and that's why we'll be back again next week with another video game you can beat. Thanks for watching.